So, network APIs, fact or fiction? What's the truth? There's been a lot of, people have their own definition of certain things, and here are the facts. So, let me tell you a little bit about Shush for people who don't know. 368 days ago, we announced it here at Mobile World Congress. We're founded by some heavy industry executives, including myself, 31 years in mobile. We focus only on network authentication APIs, right? We work with the MNOs. We're not an aggregator. We only focus on MNOs to expose their network APIs, okay? We're a member of the GSMA, Open Gateway, and we're also Camara certified. We're one of the first companies to be fully Camara certified on all 6 network authentication APIs. Very proud about that. And our mission is to reduce mobile fraud and enable the MNOs to monetize their APIs. So, SMS OTP is on a decline. Anybody want to guess true or false? That's a fact. Why? Because, okay, here we go. You just saw the Google announcement. It's been on a decline for many, many years, right? There is no security. SMS was never designed for security, and I know that because I was involved with it since its inception in 1998. It was never designed for security, okay? The reason OTP exists is because we all kept losing our dongles, and a dongle was $150 for the one-time passwords. So Stratton Scalvos from VeriSign said, hey, everybody carries a mobile phone. Let's just send a one-time password. That was in 2000. So Shush is the answer. We partner with carriers worldwide, enable and manage network authentication on their behalf, or we provide them the solution to do that. OTP is, by this time next year, it's going to be a fraction for what it is today. And in 2 years, someone said it's going to be gone. I agree. All right, 97% of the carrier revenue will come from anti-fraud network authentication APIs. Fact or fiction, guys? That is a fact. Because of the $12.6 billion that is being spent, 97% of the revenue is coming from network authentication APIs and about 3% coming from NaaS services. So we focus on the 97%. The mobile network operators need to focus on the 97%, and that 3% can get paid for by the 97% because that 3% is going to cost the mobile network operators, they're projecting $40 billion extra in network equipment. Once you have network authentication platform, you are done. Fiction, there is a long road between Camara and a platform. There is a long road between exposing those APIs and a platform. So we look at it 3 ways. We have the API monetization platform. Network integration gets a little bit more difficult, but the most difficult thing is the business. You have to care for privacy. You have to care for liability. You have to care for contracts, bringing on demand partners, pricing. It is not just a one and done. Come on, number 4. MNOs who are launching network APIs using a homegrown solution needs to hire a new team, budget millions for CapEx. True or false? Well, it's a fact. Because all 33 operators who have launched network authentication or launched any type of APIs had to spend millions of dollars on equipment and had to spend millions of dollars on people and et cetera. However, with Shush, you're up in 90 days at 0 cost. There is no cost for the platform, there is no cost for the network integration, and there's no cost for the business operations. We take care of everything for the mobile network operator. So your choice is spend millions, and hopefully a business will show up, will come to Shush and the business is there within 90 days. You need a NEF and a SCEF to offer network authentication and Camara APIs. Fiction. Next OEM who says that, I'm going to say it to their face. You do not need a NEF and a SCEF to offer any network authentication APIs and Camara APIs. And to prove it, here is the GSMA operator guidelines, which actually say that. MNOs need to have opt-in, opt-out consent management for network authentication. Ladies and gentlemen, fact or fiction? Come on. And it can't be any of my guys. Fact or fiction? It's complicated. So, in the United States, we have 47.222D. It's an FCC regulations. Basically, what it says is the operator is completely free to sell CPNI data, not just PII, CPNI data, to third parties in the prevention of fraud and to prevent the network from being defrauded, right? So, what this means is there is no opt-in, there is no opt-out. It just is. And these guys are the mobile network operators in the United States are and the surrounding US protectorates are completely fine offering CPNI data to third parties and with no any concern about FCC regulations. Oops, wait. However, GDPR, recital 47, legitimate interests, there is an opt-out requirement. But it's an opt-out requirement on the carrier. It could be anything up to the carrier network, like literally on the carrier's website. However, this is where it gets complicated. There are countries that cover under GDPR, recital 47, that have laws on top of them. One of them in particular is Poland. So Poland specifically has a rule that sits on top of recital 47 that basically says, you can't do this. So how do we get around that? Or how do we support the mobile network operator to actually offer at least the anti-fraud APIs? Well, what we do is we do zero trust. So you're not sharing PII. It's either yes or no. However, so it gets complicated, Poland doesn't even allow that. So we work with the regulators trying to figure out how to make this work because we have to protect the end consumer and these networks. Because let me make this real clear. The 3 biggest SIM swap attacks took $500 million, and it was only done by 3. But it's not so much the $500 million that was stolen from somebody's crypto account. It's the $190,000 of this woman's life savings. Gone, wiped out from a SIM swap attack. Number 7, one demand factor for network authentication is being driven by new regulations. That is very true. The FCC in the United States has mandated every carrier under their jurisdiction must have a SIM swap policy in place. Well, we all know we're in this business for the longest time. You have a policy, and now you have to have the technology. Countries all over the world are requiring no more banking over OTP. So you're starting to see more and more regulators. We work with regulators all over the world, trying to help them, guide them, give them the ability to understand what is going on in the world today. Even Google is ditching OTP. There is a demand for network authentication APIs. True. Very true. right? So the Network API TAM, as you can see, 90% of anti-fraud is subscribers, identity, right? So there is demand. There is market opportunity out there. S&P Global is doing, intelligence has been doing the research, talking to all these different brands. There is a demand out there. The biggest, the current demand that's being generated on 33 operators that have launched is ridiculous. We don't have a demand problem. We have a supply problem. There are over 1,000 operators in the world, and only 33 offer some type of network authentication. Number 9, are brands ready to convert to network authentication? I can guarantee everybody in this room has heard from different brands wanting different things around network APIs. Well, that is a very true statement. Over the last few days, you probably sat in different conferences hearing the same thing. Well, this was TikTok. Believe it or not, TikTok wasn't worried so much about network authentication, APIs, silent auth, whatever. Their biggest concern is age verification, because you've got regulators around the world saying you got to be 13, 14, 17 to connect. Well, how do you connect to TikTok? Not only, I don't know about you, but my kids don't connect to TikTok on their computer, right? So age verification, KYC, is a huge opportunity for these mobile network operators, right, to connect to some of the brands that you wouldn't think that would be using network authentication APIs. And statement 10, and this is my favorite. MNO joint ventures are always successful. And I'm just going to leave it there. Okay? And that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for that talk. Yeah, just one thing wasn't clear from your presentation. What else do you offer besides network authentication?
So we only do network authentication. We only do monetization platform. We're here to make, let the carriers make money. Oh, that was a joke? You really need to go. Yeah. You really need a writer to punch you out.
I think it really was a late night for you, winning the award. By the way, so I'm Doug Makishima, MEF advisor. I run the Mobile Evolution Working Group, which is focused on network as a service, APIs, edge computing, and new communication standards. So today we've heard a lot about APIs. We've heard a lot about Open Gateway, Chimera, and others. And Eddie drilled down into this authentication piece. And I'll also extend my congratulations to Eddie for a 1-year anniversary of his new company. And also winning, they mentioned, Dario mentioned the MEFIs. So he won the award, they won the award for Mobile Evolution.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so I run this Mobile Evolution Working Group. I'm on actually the Chimera project and User Council Technical Steering Committee. I've also been in this industry not as long as Eddie for a long time. And what else? Former GSMAer. And I do not know what a NEF and a SCEF is. So.
NEF is a network exposure function, and a SCEF is service control exposure function. NEF works on 5G, SCEF works on 4G. It's another box.
Okay, so now that's 100% clear as mud for me still. But so tell me, okay, so that seems very important. It was one of your 10 points. So tell us about why that's important and what is Shush's role in not having to need these things that I don't understand what they are.
Okay, so a NEF and a SCEF is required if you're going to do quality on demand, network slicing, MAC, all the stuff. So I look at the industry and I you know what? It's been confirmed by the GSMA. They look at the whole NaaS as 2 separate verticals. There's a connectivity vertical, which is quality on demands, QoS, network slicing, all the connectivity stuff. And then there's network authentication, anti-fraud, right? On the anti-fraud stuff, you don't need anything. The network's currently supported today. So until 3 billion 3G devices go off the network, you don't need a NEF and a SCEF to do anything. if you want to do network authentication as a mobile network operator, it is available today in your network for all the Chimera APIs and all the extra APIs. If you want to do quality on demand, network slicing, that kind of stuff, you need a NEF and a SCEF to control the bandwidth within your network. So it is a piece of software that sits within a network to expose those functionalities to control the network.
Got it. So, but for the authentication piece, which is your sole focus, you don't need it.
Nope.
And Shush is adding value by
Requiring a carrier not to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of network equipment. Millions. The average NEF costs $4 million per node. So if and a node is a core. And if you know any carriers that only have one core, let me know.
Okay, great. I mean, that was actually my only real question. You know, the 10 points you made were very clear in my mind. But maybe the audience has some questions. Can we take some questions from the audience?
I would love to hear everybody's questions.
Everybody's clear on what a NEF and a SCEF is at this point?
I didn't run from hall 3 to get here in time without somebody giving me a question.
One question there.
My question is about monetization. So if you had just pick a round number, 10 million subscribers on your network, what do you think you could make a year on that top line? And
That's a great question. So we have intrinsic data that for every OTP that converts over to some type of network authentication API, it's 3.2 attribute calls per conversion of the OTP, right? So you kind of do some rough math and you kind of figure out a number, because what we like to say is they come for number verification, but they stay for SIM swap. They come for SIM swap, they stay for silent authentication. So it works out to about 3.2 attributes for every converted OTP message. And the OTP message that we do in our business cases, because we try to be conservative, is about 5%. We say 5% of the OTP traffic will convert. Well, some of my partners are seeing 30% conversions. When you put a 30% number in there, the business case is just through the roof, which is why they're doing over $1 billion in network authentication APIs. Anybody else? Come on, it's not that late.
One more there.
All right.
Yes. Hi, my name is Ivan.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a big focus on the network authentication aspect. I'm curious, in terms of that, like, what do you do afterwards? Like, after, you know, everyone converts over to the network authentication, how else can you use the network APIs, and what else can you do in terms of, like, direction?
So if you're not talking about the communication layer, let's say the quality on demand of stuff, we have 44 APIs for everything from KYC to in-call state. You know, I have learned in my career, what you think people are going to use and what they actually use are always been two different things. There's a saying that all plans are great until you meet the enemy, because life changes things, right? So we expose 44 today. In a year, it could be 84, and a year from then, it could be 124. We'll let the market dictate the direction of the flow of APIs that can be exposed, because there's a ton of information within the network.
So I guess, like, to dig deeper, I'm curious about what that market looks like right now, or like if you have any inklings or insights in terms of that.
Yeah, so there's about 10 top APIs right now. So solid network authentication, not Chimera, guys. Number verified are you on the network? And SIM swap are the big three. Those are your big three. But then you have call forwarding, age verification, KYC, in-call state. I mean, there's 10 major ones that everybody uses today, right? Because let's remember another thing, just so everybody doesn't forget. There is no place in the world that you can get SIM swap information from any place but the mobile network operator. Apple doesn't have it, Google doesn't have it, nobody has it. The only place to get that information is the mobile network operator. They are the center of the universe for that. And that is the biggest amount of fraud that is going on today, is SIM swap.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Anybody else from the audience?
All right, 39 seconds, guys. You can think of one. All right, I'm
Going once?
Going once, going twice. All right.
Oh, we have one here.
All right,
Come on.
what's up?
All right, I had to dig deep for a question.
Okay.
What's the sales cycle like with the MNOs? What's their attitude, and are they adopting it with open arms?
They come in with open arms, but then I think a lot of it is it too good to be true? And it really is. It really absolutely is too good to be true because, being in the business as long as we have, we try to, figure out how to get through those roadblocks. Who wants to be in that 9th level of hell called procurement, right? So you try to figure out and you try to get them to yes as quick as possible. But they're mobile network operators. This is not the mobile network operators of the 90s where they were all cowboys and just did whatever they wanted. These are real businesses now, so you got to kind of follow the process. So it depends. Some move really fast and others take that traditional slow boat to, Hades, right? So.
With that, we're out of time.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
again, Eddie.
Thank you, everyone.